Phoibos is a brand that's always full of surprises. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and sometimes they're just confusing. And today's watch falls in that later category. This is the bronze Proteus, and the only reason that I really find it confusing is because it was the last thing I was expecting from them. You see, they've already had two other versions of this Proteus, and I wasn't ever expecting to see a bronze version. I didn't really see a point to it. But here we are. Now, before we dive into this one, just a couple things to note. One, I'm actually filming this on St. Patrick's Day, so a little bit of green to offset the flash of the Proteus. And second, as usual with these Phoibos videos, this watch was provided to the channel, and as far as I know, they're not asking for it back, hence that promotional tag. That said, let's get to the specs. For the most part, the Proteus is a standard mid-sized diver. So it's 42 millimeters wide with a 49 millimeter lug-to-lug, as well as a 20 millimeter lug width, 300 meters of water resistance, Seiko NH34 movement, 122 grams on its leather strap, and a double dome sapphire with 3 levels of AR. The only area this one really differs is that it is a bit thick. It's chunky at 14.5 millimeters, although that does include the embossed screw-down case back all the way to the top of that domed sapphire. So it's not quite as bad as it sounds, but it's still thick. Now, depending on your point of view, the design here is either going to be a strength or a weakness. The case shape is very angular and boxy, and as a whole it's sort of a Phoibos version of a smaller samurai, or their version of the zealous swordfish. But as you start to take all the various little elements in, you realize that it's much more than that. And it's really more of a greatest hits or a monster mishmash of some of the best watches out there. As you have monster like indices, a Milgauss second hand, and whatever has a twisted crown. And like I said, this is both a strength and weakness. It just kind of depends on your point of view. I know some love the offbeat nature of it, while others look at it like they went and raided the spare parts box. Although, regardless what you think about the design, one thing is certain here, and that's that it's very well built. Every element on the dial is distinct and sharply defined, as well as it has a nice solid feel in the hand. The crown is easy to get a hold of and use, and the bronze bezel action is terrific in all its clicky glory. Lume is also good. In fact, I really love the two-toned lume profile here. Yes, it is a lot like the swordfishes, but if you're gonna steal from the best. And when it comes to all the Phoiboses or Phoebi I've seen, I think the Proteus actually has the best designed lume out of all of them. Plus, this one also has longevity to go along with that design, being able to keep up and slightly outlast a Seiko turtle. So it's got pretty good lume. I believe the original steel version came out about 3 years ago, and 6 months later they followed it up with an aged steel version. After that, I thought they were pretty much done with the Proteus, but now we have the bronze one. Initially, I thought the whole design was interesting. It sort of worked together, but there was something that was always a little off about it. But I think every iteration has gotten it just a little bit better than the last, with each one feeling a little bit more cohesive. Like, I remember the first version had a really bright red second hand and an off yellow chapter ring, where here they've gone all rose gold to help match the case, and the white lume paint on the hands and the indices matches that of the chapter ring. So it has evolved nicely. Although personally, I'm not completely sold on this pink salmon dial paired with a bronze case. When I first saw this one, I immediately thought that this would be perfect for someone that wants all the flash and bling that goes with a gold watch, without it actually being gold. And that's not exactly me. I'm a little more toned down than that. But the nice thing about bronze is that over time it does develop a patina. And I think as this one develops that patina, it's gonna tone down the flash just a little bit, as well as hopefully add a little more contrast with the dial. Just like the other two, this one seems like a good, well-built, if not thick, entry-level diver. And the only other cons are going to be the same as that original aged steel version, which is that the bottom of the case is a little bit sharp, the circular date window seems odd, and it's a little small, as well as there's no bracelet here. I know not everyone can make a bronze bracelet, but for the price, that's going to hurt it a little bit. And while all the individual little interesting components here look well made and cool, whether or not this design works as a whole is kind of up to the eye of the beholder. So just trust your gut when you look at it. Now in terms of value, Phoibos is selling this one for $375 US. Although there's a coupon code for $90 off that's good up until the end of the month, and that brings it down to $285. After that, there are some other coupon codes out there, including the one for this channel, but they're not going to be good as that original one. But overall, $285 is pretty good for what you're getting, and especially if you really want a bronze case. If you're looking for watches to compare this to, just look at all those watches that inspired this one. You got your monsters, your samurai, and the Zella swordfish to check out. Bottom line, it's a good watch. It's not a great watch or an exceptional watch, but a good entry-level watch. It's just one with a quirky design. And the key word there is entry-level, as it looks like Phoibos is really setting the Proteus up to be their entry-level diver. The front door or the starting step with their brand, if you will. And if that's the case, then I think it works well for what they're trying to do. It's something well made, pretty affordable, and offbeat. And considering what I've recently seen from Phoibos, that pretty much is them in a nutshell. These days, they seem dedicated to making watches that forge their own path through that design forest. But what do you think about this one? Do you like the other Proteuses better, or do you like this bronze one? Let me know down below. Or if you can think of another entry-level diver that does it better, mention that as well. And as always, you guys know what to do down below. Like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, something. It just helps. I'm Shane, this is Relative Time, and I'll see you next time.